I want to give a big picture of the situation, and I decided to focus on strategy for today. So the first question is, why should we have a strategy in Polkadot? No ecosystem needs a strategy, right? Stuff just happens, and then it turns out to be good or bad. I think we should start thinking about this as Web3 is a promise. It's the promise of a freer internet that gives us more control, and so on and so on. You heard this talk quite a lot of times. But we have to make Web3 happen. It doesn't happen on its own. We're building Polkadot. We're building an ecosystem that is a Web3 ecosystem. But what we need to consider is it is an organism. It is a set of different functions. And when they play together we have a Web3 ecosystem, right? So we can't leave it up to chance for these critical functions to appear. We can intentionally put in effort to make these functions happen. And since we're not having croissants today, I'm angry, so I want to kill something. I want to kill a myth. And that is, oh no, we can't have a strategy in a decentralized environment. We are a bottom-up thing. It's impossible because no one is able to dictate the strategy. We don't have a CEO of the network. And what I respond to that is, yes, we can. We can have a strategy. We just have to understand how we think about strategy in a decentralized network. And it requires a little bit different mindset than we typically have. But we can take some learnings from how traditional hierarchical organizations look like. So organizations that have a CEO at the top somewhere. So the first insight that we can have is, even if you have a traditional organization, it cannot have a proper strategy. It can have a bad strategy. So this is not a unique feature of decentralized networks that they can have bad strategy. Also, traditional organizations can have bad strategy. But what we also do know is that traditional organizations can have very good strategy. We can think about Apple having an excellent strategy about how they're entering the market. So how do these traditional organizations arrive at strategy? You have the higher ups, you have the C-levels, you have the CEO, you have the board, or some of those people coming together in a close group and making up their minds about how they should pursue their business. They come up with a strategy, and then each of the C-levels or departments leads is directing it down. So they come up with a consensus about what they want to do together. They come up with a plan, and then they execute and distribute that plan towards everyone else. Now we compare this with a decentralized network, and we don't have this top-down power to direct intention and give orders to people about what strategy we want to execute. But what we do have is certain nodes in the network that reach a lot of people, that reach a lot of other nodes, that have influence. So if we can get enough influential people in this network to reach a consensus about what is a good idea and a good direction forward, then it comes very close to what we have in traditional organizations. Because these nodes, with a lot of communicative abilities, with a lot of influence, they are very communicative, so they are communicating with each other. They are synchronizing their models. So similarly to how blockchain computer networks synchronize their state and come to agreement about what is reality, humans can synchronize their model of the world and come to a rough common understanding of what they want to achieve. And so I think this is our basic idea. If we look at these two different models, they have a certain commonality. If we can reach a critical mass of influential actors in the network, we can come up with strategy, and we can come up with direction of what we want to achieve. And to contrast this, not having a strategy is not an option. Because, I don't know if you have noticed, but Web3 is highly competitive. And ecosystems are fighting for dominance. I think there will be a place for a lot of ecosystems, but at the same time, each ecosystem is fighting for how good, how valuable, how strong it can become. So we should be striving for good strategy, and we should be striving for finding ways to activate all the right functions for our ecosystem.